Welcome back, everybody, to episode 131 of the DanJohnUniversity.com podcast. We got a lot of good questions again this week. That's a couple weeks in a row that I've really enjoyed answering these questions. As you know, if you have questions, send them to podcast@DanJohnUniversity.com. I'll do my best to answer each and every one. Remember, over there at DanJohnUniversity.com, we have a whole bunch of new courses. We just finished our New Year's, our big savings for the New Year's, but it's still a great price. Come on by, join up. It's a free 2-week membership. Use the workout generator, and if you're like most people, that's the best money you can spend for what we do here. All right, let's get going with the questions, okay? So we have a question from Stephen. He says, I'm 35 years old, in good shape, and enjoy going to the gym. I do too. Since the pandemic began nearly 2 years ago, I began investing in a home gym. I think this is a good question, and look at the equipment he has. I have purchased a half squat rack, 150 kilo and bumper plates and barbell, which is a lot of weight for a home gym. That's good. Some kettlebells, 16, 24, 32, adjustable dumbbells, wooden rings, a rowing machine, and a treadmill. Yeah, that's a good home gym, but follow along. But not going away on holidays or out on weekends has meant that I've been fortunate enough to be able to save up the money to buy all these things. My issue now is I'm wanting to add to my home gym and spend more money. Boys and their toys, my wife says. Yeah, but you're also 35 and in good shape, and there's gonna be a time where she's gonna be pretty pleased about being in good shape and being alive, or staying alive, as the Bee Gees taught us. The latest thing I want to purchase is a landmine attachment for my rack and a CrossFit 2 ski erg for some conditioning workouts. What are your thoughts on both of these? Well, I'm not a fan of treadmills, rowing machines, ski ergs. They're expensive. How many kettlebells can you buy for a rowing machine? I mean, it's stunning. Having said that, if you actually use it, do it. But that's the problem with home gyms. You have that treadmill, and all of a sudden there's all your laundry on top of it, or there's boxes for Christmas on top of it. If you're using it, then do it. Now, so Stephen, this part's going to be very personal for you. I mean, if I were you, I'd get another 16, another 24, another 32, maybe a couple 20s in the kettlebell world, and maybe even a little bit more weight, so you have 200K with the barbell. I'd get chains. Bigger, Faster, Stronger has those chains that also have collars on the end. I think they're great for home training. A hip thrust machine. That's where my head is. That doesn't mean that's where your head is. So that's going to be a thing for you. I've seen people do the landmine stuff, and all the magic's supposed to happen with it, and it's great. I'm an old grouchy jerk strength coach, and I just don't see any value in all this newfangled stuff. He asks do I see them as good investments? No, you'll buy a treadmill for $6,000 and you'll sell it if you can for $500 or $100 later on. They're not good investments. Oddly, you'll buy a barbell for $300 and 20 years later sell it for $500. So yeah, for investments, you want to go with the iron. Kettlebells, as we found out during the pandemic, kettlebells were a good investment. I know I should probably say enough is enough, but I enjoy adding variety to my workouts and hope that someday my kids will also benefit from this equipment I am buying. Do you recommend anything else I should invest in for my home gym? So yeah, I would make sure you have doubled kettlebells. And if your kid's going to work out, you want to start thinking about getting lighter kettlebells. I don't know if you have male or female children, but maybe a female weightlifting bar sometime might be an idea. I really like ours. It's a great thing to have around. I'm kind of surprised to say that because, but it worked. The female Olympic lifting bar is a nice little addition. The thing I was thinking about, do you have suspension trainers? Because I think suspension trainers are fantastic. I also recommend the Sorinex the ab wheel, their rollout wheel. I think it's fabulous, and you can also put your feet in it and do stuff with that, and it's a good one. So those are my basic ones. You might want to start thinking about the other direction of things, like maybe a sauna, or I guess it's called sauna now. I have that little pneumatic gun for the hot spots. You stick it on there and it vibrates. I mean, those are all. A sauna nowadays is actually relatively inexpensive compared to the way it was. Um, yeah, and I would just pour a lot more money into vegetables and things like that. But it's good. You've got a good setup. It's really good. I would just give always my caveat: don't bench press at home, especially if you're by yourself. Okay. And thank you. That's a good question. I appreciate it. We have a question from Jesse. I'm in the middle of easy strength and starting to think about what I'm going to do once I've completed the program. Yeah, that is. Yeah, for me, I always take about a week. I have that little week where I'm just going to lift 3 days in a week, 3 sets of 8 or something like that. Push, pull, hinge, squat, loaded carry, whole body workout, just so I have a gear change. But let's see what you ask. I was thinking of trying the transformation program, but I've never done snatches with barbells before. So that program has 3 explosive lifts: the power curl, the clean grip snatch, and the whip snatch. So yeah, maybe learning the lifts would be a really good idea. Just learning the basics. I mean, these are simple variations, but it'd be worth your time. My first thought was to substitute kettlebells for the barbell in that lift. Boy, we tried to make that work. And I'll be honest with you, Jesse, I couldn't make. So we kept trying to do the kettlebell swing. Check that. Sorry, the kettlebell snatch instead of the whip snatch and the close grip snatch, because honestly, the whip snatch and the close grip snatch look a lot like they do. They look a lot like kettlebell snatches. So it's like I'm looking at that, going, yeah, I see what they're going. And I tried to come up with it. I just never actually got the benefits that I got from the transformation program. So much of the transformation program is basically the fact that your workouts are done 9 to 15 minutes, and the snatches are great. Maybe we had a loading issue, maybe we had a technical issue. I don't know, but I couldn't make it work. But it doesn't mean it doesn't work. So your day 3, for example, the Olympic lifting day, you could just do a kettlebell snatch day. Yeah, I mean, you could make that work. You would probably lose some of the benefits of what we're trying to do. But yeah, I think there's value to the idea. Just because I couldn't make it work doesn't mean it's a bad idea. It could also just mean I didn't try. It could also mean I didn't try very hard to make it work. It was like, not good enough. Go back. As you will when you get more experience. If something doesn't work, if you have a great track record with something, and all of a sudden you try something a little bit different, it doesn't work like instantly. You'll be like, throw it out. So at least if you're me, okay. But as a recovering program hopper improver, I constantly play the phrase, "Do the program as written in mind." So it is advisable or even possible to learn the barbell snatch while completing easy strength. I have 4 weeks left. Well, if you go on the website, Dan John University, I show you my program, Easy Strength for weight loss with Olympic lifting. I mean, if you're, let's see, so if you're doing a press variation, boy, this is me a tough word. So I think you'd want to do a press variation. You probably want to do an ab wheel and probably either a pull up or a hang. So press, pull, ab wheel, Olympic snatch. Those are your 4 exercises. And let's just see how that goes. You're gonna have to get a lot more reps with the snatch. But yeah, I think there's some value here. If not, finally, another option here. Is there another program similar to transformation in terms of benefits and structure that you recommend? Yeah, the workout generator, and just plug that in and just give it a go. It's interesting. I said that earlier about I forget sometimes about the workout generator, frankly. I do. Because I'm so used to saying after easy strength. Well, after easy strength, you should use the workout generator. You do that for 3 to 6 weeks, and then you move into another kind of program, I think. But yeah, I just plug in the workout generator and make sure you be honest and clear about the equipment you have. And then when you slide up and down the exercise choices, play around with it a little bit and see what you can get out of it. This is a good question, Jesse, and I think I answered in the affirmative to every single option you gave me, which is a good. There's a lesson there about what I do, and what you're trying to do, is you kind of. I'm not saying you're an experimental one. I don't mean that. What I mean is that the greatest thing about strength and conditioning is that you have a multitude of options. Lots and lots and lots and lots of things work, and go do it your all. Okay, we have a question here from Dan. That's a lovely name. Towards the end of your last podcast, you said something off the top of your head that has stuck with me since the moment I heard it. When answering a question regarding aesthetics versus performance, you stated that you see value in people being a bodybuilder all summer, Olympic lifter in the fall, a power lifter all winter, and a sprinter in the spring. Dan, thanks for saying that back to me, because as I'm reading that over, my thought process is that's pretty good. In the summer, you're on the workout generator, you're doing, your sets of 8, your sets of 10, your sets of 12, you're feeling that lactic acid build up. Fall comes around, disciplined program, Olympic lift. Winter comes around, it's cold, let's get it done fast and get the hell out of here. And then the spring comes, yeah, it's a great idea. I feel like there was a golden nugget of wisdom. I think there was a big nugget in there, yeah, in that little statement. But due to it not being the sole component of the question you were answering at the time, it was relatively glossed over. Would you be able to expand on that thought? Well, a couple things. First, I'm a big believer in seasonal eating and seasonal training. So I'm a big believer that in the spring, you should probably be eating, I'll just summarize, eating a lot of berries. You should eat all of which nature is just popping off for you. In the fall, I move, and I do. Fall is when I begin to eat the root vegetables more. I eat the squash family here in the United States more. It's very really inexpensive in the fall. Fall is also apple time here in the United States, so I eat a lot of apples in the fall. I don't eat them the rest of the year because they don't taste good. In the winter, I eat stews and I eat soups, and in the spring, it's of course in the Christian tradition we have Lent, which has got some fasting, and in the spring, I tend to push away a little bit from meat, a little bit. It's something I've been doing the last few years. The other day, I was at a gathering, and everybody else at the table ate steak, and I ate the vegetarian option. And I thought to myself, you're getting a little weird here, Danny. But it was good. So that's seasonal eating, and of course, it's a lot. There's great resources online. John Douillard has something called the 3-season diet, but you can also just type in eating according to the seasons. I know that the Utah, I don't think it's the Department of Agriculture, it might be Utah State Extension, actually has a whole chart about what vegetables and fruit to buy, what times of the year. I think there are times of the year, like it might be better to eat more. I'm spitballing right now, but maybe like, I don't know, summer is a better time to eat certain kinds of fish. So during the summer, eat a spitball here, more trout in the summer and more turkey in November, more soups. So you're going to put more, you're going to use more bones. You're going to use more broth. You're going to use more, and maybe even crappier kinds of meats in the winter, because when you make a soup or a stew, the magic is the time. And then of course, for seasonal training, if you actually did the Olympic lifting all fall, and then, when it got a little colder, did the powerlifting, do all 3 lifts 3 days a week, 3 sets of 3, a little Stephen Court working out. And then when the spring came around, you got out there and you start, you put your shoes on, you do your little warm up, you do your high knees, you do your butt kickers, you do your, your little speed drills, and then which will lean you out. And of course, when summer comes around, enjoy those 3-day-a-week workouts. I think there's a lot of wisdom to it. I have to be honest with you. I'm not saying you'll be the only person on the planet doing it, but it's good advice. Yeah, sometimes when people quote something I say and it's good advice, I kind of feel a little funny after, like, yeah, it's a really good idea. Yeah, it's brilliant. Oh, yeah, I said it, but it is good. Yeah, so I feel that way right now. Okay. Good question. And I hope you go with this a little bit and get back to me and see how, and let me know. Okay. That's, those are only 3 months periods. I mean, you can get a ton done and then and maybe even be looking forward to what's happening next after that. So win, win, win. Jacob says, my father in his early 60s was recently diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Well, okay. I have a good friend who has it. Of course, Coach Mon had it. Jan Carlson had it. So I do have some empathy for you, and my best to you and your family. It was detected early, and he currently has a positive outlook on the diagnosis. Since learning about it, I've been doing research into some suggested lifestyle changes that can result in positive long-term outcomes. I was curious if you had any work with Parkinson. So yes, and as one of the friend who has it was one of the people that when I mentioned gut bioimmunity, eating kimchi and sauerkraut, he was all up like this could be the answer. I mean, that's pretty positive, but so yeah, so there, I am familiar. Let's go on. Progressive resistance training is sometimes often cited as helping to slow and reverse the effects. And from listening to you talk about walking with ankle and handheld weights, I was thinking that it might be something to consider as well as the benefits of gait and balance. Do you have any insights on training interventions related to Parkinson's? Yeah, okay, so I have a concept called level training, and one of the things I would recommend you do, I still think you should push, pull, hinge, squat, and loaded carry, but think outside the box a little bit. Like maybe on pushes, do push-ups, because push-ups are on the floor. Generally, I don't recommend people do push-ups. Anytime, so push-ups on the floor, hangs or pull-ups or monkey bars, so that you're in a different level when you're doing the next exercise. For squats, anything in the squat family, from the 6-point rock to the goblet squat to the overhead squat to the front squat, I think would have value, just overall. But then the hip thrust is back down on the ground, this time on the back. So you're going push up on the ground, hang, squat, hip thrust, suitcase carry down and back, waiter, heavy hands and ankle weight walk, for half an hour. Do that 3 or 4 times a week. Do the lifting 3 times a week. Do the maybe 1 day a week where you just practice something like, it could be as fancy as a Turkish get up, or just something as simple as my get back up drill, where you would practice getting up and down off the ground, and there'll be wisdom in that one day. And then going for a walk. Yeah. I think Parkinson's is going to be one of those diseases where not long from now, and it'll be a relatively simple solution to it. And the brave people who are fighting through it now will really give us some wisdom and insights about what works and doesn't work. So make sure you at some level keep some kind of record of what your father's doing. It'd be nice if he did it, but it'd be kind of interesting to see how everything progresses while he's dealing with this condition. Good luck to you both, okay? And thank you. So we got a guy named John. So we had a Dan and a John. So it's been a good day. I'm a beat up 41-year-old who recently packed on about 25 pounds for many reasons, but mainly stress, and not eating like an adult more days than not. Obviously, I need to dial the diet. But besides that, I was looking for a program that can get me on track. I have a 45-pound kettlebell and 20 and 30-pound dumbbells at my house. So a 45-pound kettlebell. So basically a 20. Okay. I started and stopped the 10,000 swings twice because I felt a little overwhelmed and beat up. I was wondering, since you're the authority on the program, if going every other day would make sense and just do it over 4 days. First off, yeah, even though I came up with the idea and I think there's got real value, don't get all caught up in like doing it in 4 weeks or 20 days like I do it. I do it in 20 days because I can't stand doing it. I hate the damn thing. So because I've done it so many times, we're estimating over 20 times. So that's 200,000 swings. Is that right? Oh my God. I got to get a life. So yeah, I think it'd be perfectly okay to do that. But honestly, I think with the equipment that you have, the workout generator is a much better place for you to go and for a while until you get yourself getting the practice of moving every day. Okay, let's keep going. Also, what do you suggest to do in between sets? Maybe mobility work. Yeah, I like that. I like the just do it any way you can version, where you just do as many reps as you can, rest, rinse, and repeat up to 500. Well, in the original, I mean, you just so I do the up to 500 because I put the kettlebell down, I turn off my stuff, and then I go outside and I do my Olympic lifts with Mike. So I mean, I'm getting all the qualities from lifting in the weightlifting after. But if you read the original article, I would always recommend like one day a week do presses or push-ups between sets. One day a week do goblet squats between sets. One day a week, if you can do it, pull-ups. That's a tough day. Maybe the next day, I'm just kind of spitballing. Maybe ab wheels. Ooh, that would be a tough day, man. Ab wheels with swings, man. Don't do a lot of reps. Don't, trust me on this one. Do one or two the first time you try it per round. Oh, that is just so much work on the ab wall. You can do that, or you can just do the program as written. But yeah, I think I would like to see you try something a little bit more than just the swings, though, okay? And I'd like to see you say next time I talk to you that you're doing swings, mobility work, and walking a couple of times a week, okay? Thank you. We have a question from Matthew. Since becoming a father, I've naturally spent less time lifting and have somehow managed to also disturb my lower back. What happens a lot of times when, especially men, retire from sports, they get all of a sudden all these little niggling injuries. That's the way, or usually phrased. I think what happens, and I could be wrong, is that you get this little injury. Okay, we'll put it here. But when you were, 320 pounds, squatting 600 pounds twice a week, and, you had all that stuff holding it together. Well, all of a sudden over time, you drop to 220 and, all that, the muscles are a lot less, and all of a sudden those little injuries show up because I think that as your, I'm sure there's people like doctors and trainers going, this guy's a lunatic, but I think as you lose mass, the muscles shorten a little bit, so you get the tendons, ligaments, and all the other fascia, they start to stretch more and more and more. As the muscles shrink, you see what's happening here. These get more stress. What I just said could be a whale of crap, but it sure seems true. Okay, enough. We'll move on. An MRI revealed that I have some degenerative disc disease going on between the L5-S1 area within my back. It has been an issue for me for 9 months or so, and has likely arisen from not bending my knees properly to lift things off the floor, including my daughter. As ridiculous as that sounds, well, that's how you get hurt. One of the worst injuries in my life, I picked up a typewriter, for God's sakes. I'm 30 years old, young, 6'3" and 218. That's good weight. I was playing semi-professional rugby up until the start of the pandemic, and getting my strength back within the squat would do wonders in getting me confidence back, with the overall aim of preparing to play physically again. Unfortunately, this back issue has meant that squatting has become problematic. I've experimented with Frankenstein bottom-up squats from pins, good lift, front squats, and more recently Zercher squats, with the belief that placing the barbell in the front of the body will avoid unnecessary load on the back side of my body. Oddly, I think it's the opposite. One of the reasons I like overhead squats, goblet squats, and Zerchers so much is that by having the load away, the body has to counter with what I call anaconda strength. And I'm wondering if this might have put more pressure on you. None of these variations have proved much of a solution, with each managing to irritate my lower back as soon as I finished a training session. I don't really want to stop drop squatting completely, so could you suggest anything that can strengthen the lower body, quads included, while saving my lower back? I have invested in a reverse hyper, which has proved quite useful for increasing blood flow to the area. Well, the reverse hyper is a good idea. I'm wondering if putting chains on the barbell will help, because then you'll get that acceleration. You'll have more load at the top, but less load in the bendy positions. So, take those reverse hypers really serious, and hyper is really serious. Chains, but you probably are at a place in your life that goblet squats might be all you need. And if goblet squats don't bother your back, do them. You just, at your size and your age and the issues, it's not time for you to get up to, you're 99 kilos now, you're 218 now. I mean, do you really want to get up to 160 kilos? I mean, I don't think you do. So try that. This is a tough one. And with backs, very often, I love listening to Stu McGill talking about how, and it's interesting because there's such a, it almost seems like it's a matrix or a spreadsheet. If this is bad, then go to here. If that didn't work, go here. So it is going to be an experiment of one with you. And I don't know if that helped, but you're going to have to keep kind of searching, and you find something you can work with and work around. Okay? Thank you. Another Dan has asked a question. I'm a 50-year-old, heavy set, and very stiff, especially my back and hamstrings. My exercise history is limited to lots of walking the past 10 years, but nothing else. When I forward bend, I can barely touch my knees. Wow. The allure of kettlebell is very strong. What is the dark side? It is very strong. These aren't the droids you're looking for. But I'm afraid of doing the swings because of such limited mobility. And I agree 100%. I'm a master kettlebell instructor, and I wait on the swing for tons of time. I want you to look up some of my work. I think, first off, hip thrusts might be where you need to be anyway. But hip thrusts, both the glute bridge style, which is the isometric, the style where you just have glute bands around and you're pulling your knees apart. When I used to be on the road, I used to just lay on my back and do hip thrusts by myself you don't want people watching you do that for too much. Hip thrusts, and of course I have two different hip thrust machines in my gym, in my home gym. So I'm a big fan of those. And another one I want you to look up is the Bulgarian goat bag swing. It's on this channel. It's my invention. That might be a far better option for you than swinging, okay? Is there a recommended set of stretches or movements that can prepare me for the basic movement requirements of the swing? Well, the thing is you need to learn to hinge. So, again, Google or just search my YouTube videos here. Look for hinge, not fold. Look for hinge, how I teach the hinge, the basic drills. And then I have over on Dan John University, I have a fairly long introduction to kettlebells that might really help you, okay? You have to be a member, but it's just not that much, okay? Thank you, Dan. I hope it helped. Try the hip thrust and the Bulgarian goat bag swings and see how it helps you, okay? Thank you. We have a question from, I think it's Milios. I am nearing the end of my 10,000 kettlebell swing challenge journey, and the results have been fantastic. Really, that's good. They're not always fantastic. The grip alone is very impressive. Yeah, I know. I have noticed that too. Yeah. As I am continuing on doing the Dan John trifecta, I have a couple of questions. This should be fun. I am going to take a week off after I finish the swing challenge on Saturday in order to learn how to properly clean a barbell. I've seen some of your resources on YouTube, but hope to find someone to explain the nuances in person. Yeah, it's sad that we don't have more people who can explain the clean. It's such a simple thing. Apart from that, I recently saw your podcast clip of aesthetics versus performance, where you talk about easy strength. I don't know if the order matters that much, but given what you said in the podcast, my plan of the 10,000 swing challenge to mass made simple to easy strength sounds logical. Yeah, yeah. In fact, when you're doing that easy strength program after mass made simple, why don't you walk after everyone to see if you can get rid of anything? On mass made simple, people do put on some body fat. I mean, that's just, but like I've told everybody, that's just fine. I mean, you're on a mass building program. You can't be chasing 20 rabbits at once. So maybe easy strength followed by walks every day might be a really good idea. The only thing I would consider is doing easy strength for either 40 days or 80 days, since I haven't decided to go to something like the transformation program instead of 531, since you said after chasing pure strength for a while, I should chase a new quality. Well, you need to learn the whip snatch, the clean grip snatch, and the power curl. And you could do that doing easy strength and then just, but remember the transformation program, I mean, usually we just did it for 2 weeks. I've obviously done it a lot longer, but usually we'd do it for 2 weeks, and it was a transformation program. So my American football players would do it for 2 weeks after the season. And really, after American football season, I'm not trying to get them stronger or anything. I'm just trying to let all those little injuries heal. When I played football, I mean, broke the end of my elbow off. My neck still doesn't work right. Banged up my knees. Hamstring issues. Feet issues from people standing on my feet, stomping on my feet in games with cleats on. So you need 2 weeks after the season to kind of transform yourself back to being a normal person. For track athletes, some of my throwers would do mass made simple, and then as a break do transformation for 2 weeks. We would do the big 21 program, and as a break we would get to the transformation program. Interesting, in season the transformation program turned out to be the very best thing we ever did. Yeah, these are. I think you answered your own question, and I'm a big fan. But got to remember, no matter what I say or what, it's up to you. That great line from Jerry Seinfeld in the book Sign Language. I've given you the jokes. Now you got to come up with the delivery. You've got the programs. You got to step up and do them. And that is the answer to so many questions. Great set of questions today, folks. Thank you. Listen, if you have questions, remember, send them to us at podcast@danjohnuniversity.com. I will do my best to answer each and every one. Somebody mentioned the other day to me at a workshop that I seem to answer a lot of the same questions over and over. And that is true, but most people aren't going to Google the answers or look up the answers. So I'm happy to do it. And sometimes, like with today's questions, people add a lot of personal things that take maybe what would have been a simple. So here's a simple question, but when you put the life story into it, the answer becomes a little bit different. And that's always kind of fun to play with. So remember, podcast@danjohnuniversity.com. I try to be here every week with you. And until next week, let's all keep on lifting and learning. Thank you.